So in this video I'm gonna show you how you can build a simple and affordable water setup for in your camper with this Shurflo Trail King 7 and this accumulator tank. Do you really need this accumulator tank? I will answer that in this video. This is my 1965 Unimog 404 with a radio shelter, and I'm building this into a camper unit. So here we have my fridge, and here I made a scale model how I want to make the layout inside of the camper area. So here I made my water tank, and here's the real one, and this one is under the chassis on the other side, so an outside tank, and it's around 50-55 liters usable. So the water tank will be somewhere here under the floor. So in this bench I will make the water pump, and that is around here. When I bought the Unimog, this electric pump was inside of the water tank. Here we have electric wire, here the hose for the water. So the pump is inside of the tank. And then this tub was installed with this switch, also with electric wire, and if you turn the switch the water flows, and this also has hot water possibilities, because for hot water there was this unit installed, and this is a water heat exchanger. So the cooling water of the engine flows through these hoses, and through these hoses you put the water for the hot water. So you can have a shower or wash your hands with hot water after you drove a while. Also this shower system was installed, also with the same electric wire and hot and cold water and a switch. Not sure if I will reinstall this shower with the hot water exchanger, because for now I just want to have running water in the system with two taps. So my new plan is one kitchen tap, and I'm probably gonna replace this one with another tap, and one outside tap that is under the radio shelter, so you can wash your hands outside of the truck. But this tap is out of the hardware store with no electronics, so how do you control your pump? This Shurflo pump automatically puts the system under pressure, and if you close the tap and you have pressure, the pump switches off. And when you release the pressure because you open the tap, the pump starts pumping. So it's a self-priming pump that sucks out the water out of a tank. So I think this is a better solution than this pump. This is still a good solution, but I think this is nicer. So let me show you how this Shurflo water pump works and how you connect it, and how this accumulator tank works. The electrical wiring of the pump is really simple. It's a 12-volt pump. So the red wire goes to the minus on the battery. And here I have the positive of the battery with a fuse. If we connect it directly, the pump starts pumping, and you can run it dry without a problem. But let's install a switch, and I bought this switch panel on AliExpress, and it totally sucks because it already broke here, and the cabling that was here broke apart. So yeah, that's pretty shitty. But let's use it for now. So we have this wire that goes to the positive, and this wire goes here on the switch. So now if we turn the switch, the pump starts pumping. This side of the pump will pump out of the tank, but let's first install this €6 pre-filter. So if we have any dirt or sand or something in the water, this filter will catch it so the pump won't get damaged. And then we put on this angled hose connector. So we can simply put this hose into the tank and here on the connector. Then we tighten the hose clamp so we don't have air leakage, otherwise the pump won't prime. And if we turn on the pump now, it will prime and suck up the water through the filter. That will take a moment, and then the water will be out of here soon. The filter is now filled, and now the water comes out. So let's turn it off, otherwise my workshop is flooded. So now this hose is full of water and the filter is full of water, so there's no air left in the hose. I removed the accumulator tank and I will explain later if you need this. So this is the most basic setup. So from the pump, just a hose to a tap. So let's turn on the pump again. And it's now pumping till it has pressure. So it builds up the pressure in this hose. And the tap is now closed. And it will automatically stop if it has the right pressure. And this one pumps 7 liters per minute and 20 psi. I think this is 1.4 bars. And I chose a model that is just with the least pressure and liters per minute, because I want to save some water. And with 7 liters per minute and 60 liter tank, in under 10 minutes it's empty. So let's get the air out of the system. And now the water is flowing. So let's close it, and now the pump also stops working. So the system is now ready to use. So if we open the tap, we have running water and the pump starts pumping. But the problem without the accumulator tank is now the water is pulsing and the motor is turning on and off and on and off. So this is not the best water flow that we can have. So what is this tank and do you really need it? Yes, you need it in your system, because in this tank there's a membrane and a pressure chamber. And if you install this system anywhere in the pressure side of your water system, you get a way nicer airflow and the pump will run less often. We can install this tank anywhere in the pressure side of the system, and it doesn't matter on which side the pump is. So I made this short hose to connect it, and you also have a piece that is directly all-in-one, but here in the Netherlands I can't buy it, and I only can buy it in the US with $40 shipping, and yeah, I think it's out of stock here in Europe. Don't forget to tighten the hose clamps. So let's connect the hose to the tap on this side. Turn on the pump again, so it's now pumping again and getting the system under pressure. So the pump already stopped and you don't have to do anything else with this tank. So let's show you the water flow now. So the pump is now on less often. Oh, there are some air bubbles. And the airflow is way nicer without any pulsing. And if we close the system, the pump stops automatically. I'm using 10mm food grade water hose. And this hose has no extra wiring in it, so it's not for high pressures, but for this system it's more than enough. If you need high pressure water hose, you can use this one, but this one is not food grade, so you can have extra taste in your water. So the better hose to use is the food grade version. Also I bought food grade like angle pieces and straight connectors and this T piece. So with this T connector we can add extra water tap into the system for under the body. Also I bought this simple inline taps, so if you have maintenance on your system or you want to disconnect your outside system, you can simply turn the switch. So it's easy to have some options to turn off parts of your systems. And this was only €6. Also you need stainless steel hose clamps and buy the correct size for your hosing, so you don't have to turn them really tight so they won't damage your hoses. So to install the water hoses into the camper, I bought this stainless steel clamps with this rubber, so you can put a hose through here and screw it into your floor or into your wall. I bought this simple outdoor tap in the hardware store, so how do we install it into a camper installation? So let's first install this piece. And this has just thread in it. And I need to replace it with someone with the same material as the rest of the crane system. And then we put this hose pillar in from the other side. And this is 10 millimeter. So we can just install it in the hoses. The best way to cut hoses is by a hose cutter. They are really cheap and super handy, and if you cut, the cut is always nice and straight. So let's put on a hose clamp and the T-piece. I already made this terrible mess, but we have two taps now installed with the T here. So let's turn on the pump and see if we have no leakages. Oh, we have leakages here. Quite a bit. But it stops the pump, so it's under pressure. Oh no, this is not working. So let's redo this system, but now with some PTFE thread sealing tape in between here, so it won't leak. So to stop the leaking, you take a piece of the tape, put it around the thread, and screw it together. So I redid the hoses, so this hose now goes through this step, but it's still leaking a bit, but not as much as before. And I installed the other tap here in the wooden plate. So let's first try out this one. So this one is working and the pump stops. Now let's test out this tap. And also the pump stops if I close the tap. So let's test out if I can wash my hands under this tap. Will it work for that purpose? I think this works perfectly fine. So let's show you the system. You need a water tank like this. I'm now using a jerry can with a hose down here, but that's not the best solution. I will also show you how I will do it with my water tank, because there's a better solution than a hose into here. Because if the hose is not on the bottom but curled like to here, it doesn't get this part of the water out. So that's a flaw in the system with a hose down here. So the hose from the water tank goes through this angle connector into the pre-filter to get all the dirt and sand out that can be in your tank. Then it goes into the pump with the membranes, and this is only 7 liters a minute with 20 psi. So I chose this because I want to save water, and I rather had like 5 liters a minute. So this side of the pump is the pressure side. So I made this connection to the accumulator that regulates the pressure in the system, so it's constant, so you don't have the pulsing in the water. That's very important. Here we have the hose to the T-piece. This hose goes to this crane for in your kitchen, and this hose goes to the crane for the outside. And of course you can add the extra inline taps, for example for maintenance in the intake, or on the pressure side here, or to the systems. And then you can really control which part gets water and which part can be disconnected for maintenance. I chose 10 millimeter hoses, that's more than enough. And an advantage of like a small diameter hose is that the water flow in the hose is stronger, and then it automatically cleans your hoses when you're using your water system. The electrical wiring is super simple. We have a battery as power source, 12 volt. Black wire goes to the ground of your truck. And on the positive side of the power system, of course, we first add a fuse so it's safe. Then we add a switch so we can turn off the pump when needed, if we have a leakage or when we store the truck for a long time. The reason why I didn't build it in the unimog yet is because I first want to go onto the scales to have the correct weight of an empty vehicle into the papers instead of the already built vehicle. I think it's better to have a lower weight on your papers. But the whole camper installation that I'm building will be lightweight, so I won't add too much weight to the unimog. First I had the idea to use water cans, like 5 or 6 for my water supply, but I decided to install the stainless steel tank of 50-60 liters under the unimog because I think it's more practical, and the previous owner built a pretty nice tank. I still have some spare jerrycans inside of the unimog, like 3 or 4, so I will have a total of 120-130 liters. And I think that is more than enough for a cold water system. If I want to add warm water to the system, I can use this water heat exchanger. These 2 pipes go to the engine, to the cooling system. So if I have driven for a while, there will be hot water inside of here. Then I will make an extra T-piece from here with cold water inside of one of those hoses. And the other hose, when I pump water through it, it will get warm. I can install a shower system like this. And after a drive I have warm water to shower. Or I make an extra T-piece and put it on the warm water function of this tap. So this is a super basic solution. You don't have always warm water, only if you have a warm engine, or if you have a diesel heater that warms up also your engine water. It is super cheap, it's reliable. Probably this will be someday my warm water source if I want to add a shower. So this is a stainless steel water tank that came with the unimog. It was painted black, so I painted it just the same color as the chassis, so it stays cooler. And here's the filling cap, that is this cap. And there were 2 holes in it, one for a water line and one for the electrical cable. So what I probably gonna do in the smaller one, I will put a little hose that goes into the camper unit, so air can go into the tank, because if you pull water out, air needs to go in. And the other one you can put in a hose to the bottom, but if it dangles around or curls up, you can't get all the water out. So my solution, instead of using this one, I probably just will close this off. I'm gonna modify this water tank and put in this stainless steel pipe with this hose connector, and I will put it in the rear of the tank, so I can always pull out fresh water from it, and I don't have to worry that my hose is on the bottom. Funny thing is, today I was buying this coupling, and I first ordered one online somewhere and they sent the wrong size, and then I couldn't find the right size for a normal price. And then I went to the shop and they only had 13 millimeters and I wanted to have 10 millimeters. So the guy in the shop said, okay, I have a solution. We have a lot of material. I can just mill it down and make it a 10 millimeter if you want. So I said, okay. So thank you, Rutrans in Amsterdam. You made a custom piece for me without extra charging. And the reason why I choose 2 parts with some threading is that in the future, if I have other plans, I can change out the coupling to something else or a different size. If I just put like the 10 millimeter pipe into the tank, it's always 10 millimeter, and now I just have like an adapter to have different options. And to have options is always great. So what does it all cost? I think it's pretty affordable, because the pump was only 70 euros. This tank is 50 euros, but you can see that it is really a good add on to your system because you have a way better flow and your pump will run less time. The filter was only €6, so super cheap. The couplings a few euro each. The piping was 90 cents a meter. And then you need to get some quality hose clamps and some T-joints and stuff like that. So you have to spend a little bit more. And a tap like this is like 20 euros in the shop, but this is not the best solution. I will probably change it up. Maybe that kind of style, not sure yet. And this tap is like 15 euros with some extra pieces, also a few euro each. So for around 250 euros you can have a pretty decent basic water system with 2 taps. And if you use jerry cans like this, they are in an army dump like $10 or 10 euros. If you have a custom stainless steel tank, that's of course way more expensive, or you need to build it yourself. I think I found a good spot for the outdoor water tap. I will put a plate here and then it will be in this position, so the water flows here, the handle goes here, and then I can make like a little safety line that you can't open the handle while off-roading. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will try to answer them. Thanks for watching.